So here's the mummy. He's, oh, I'd say he's, you know, half painted, more or less. Another one. They're a little bit different. Their faces are different, but they have the same pose. They're a different sculpt, but they're the same. Then this is the special character one. Star player. Is it Mumra? Not sure. Not sure if it's Mumra or not. I think that's what I called him. And then the last one is just a GW metal mummy, not skeleton. So I fixed the one model that was missing. So it's 10 skeletons, which includes 2 of the gwrulz with the loincloths. I do have 1 extra bit that will go with it. So that's a total of 16 models and a quarter. But I'm sure I've got the rest of him. I just got to find him. So it's at least 16 models and hopefully 17 if I get that. Since the cheerleader doesn't go out onto the field, and neither does the I don't even know what this was. I was going to make paint a little sign on there, you know. My plan was to paint something like this, so that I could, you know, I'm not sure what I had planned, but this is for my regular undead blood bowl. Kimmery one is the banner pole and some sort of little sign I was going to put on there. Just an extra model. So let's put these guys to the side. Since I'm not going to be painting these, I'll just put them to the side so that I can do some real painting here. Since it's been a couple days, see what I feel like painting today. Okay. Do we feel like some Norse today? Or I want to go do some more Bretonians. I feel like a little Bretonian action today. We have our 2 test models we've been working on. But I feel like there was a 3rd test model. There he is. And I've been working on Griff off and on. You can see that I finally finished up his white pants and I started on his armor. Not sure what I'm going to do with him yet. So we're going to set him to the side. I don't feel like him today. That's the good thing about painting several teams. You get to the point that you don't feel like doing something with a specific one. You can put it to the side and work on another. So let's look at the Bretonians today. Let's ensure that I'm centered up here. Yeah, do a little adjustment. That looked pretty good to everybody. So I'm going to switch glasses, or take glasses all the way off so I can see what I'm doing. I think I'm going to stick with the pants that I'm familiar with, like the Norse pants. But I feel like I want to try out a color on their shoulder pads. I feel like totally silver's not the way to go. So let's try out some colors. I have this fancy little shaker down here that I'm going to use to give my paints a good shake. I think we may need some inspiration here, but I'm feeling like when I think of knights, I either think of the Knights of Excalibur, which are the shiny ones, or I think of the Green Knight. So I'm going to try green. Let's see how that turns out. So as always, I'm using the Citadel small dry brush that I have not used for dry brushing. As soon as those bristles get to a point I don't like, then what I'll do is just replace it, because I'm going to use it for painting. So on my palette, which my paint's not shaking enough. So what I have down here is it's actually a test tube shaker. I got it from when they were getting rid of equipment a long time ago. But it works pretty good at shaking the paint for you. A little bit of water, as always. Give that a good stir. Put it in our little fancy GW holder here. And because it is really watered down, it's going to be translucent here at the beginning. So I'll have to do several thin coats. Remember, these are just our test models, so we're not too worried about if we don't like the color. We can come back and paint right over this. Since our paints are so thin, So far I'm digging that. So I'm going to follow up on their little plates here. And since they are Bretonians, not every model has to be exactly the same either. So they were thinking, you know, that another hint is always have another model around, that if you have a lot of left over like I did this time, that takes the color that you had planned on putting. That way you can quickly put them on, that color onto that one, and without wasting all the paint. Green over black is not the best, but we're just trying to use up what we got here. Kind of going with a color scheme to each of your teams kind of helps on the field too, to distinguish between two teams. I've actually thought about painting two identical teams, but each one being a different color, because I have went up against other teams that's used the classic colors and sometimes got confused whose is whose. Not always, but it does happen. Okay. So I'm kind of digging that green. Not sure how much of it's going to be green, but that shaker really does work pretty well. A little bit of water. I've just always decided that all my human teams that I paint, their back panel here is going to be white. A little more water. It's very dry in my office today. Getting a very Dark Angel feel for these. which isn't necessarily bad, just I'm not sure if I'm going to go there or not. Forgot to do his socks when I did the base coats. But seeing my forehead isn't probably the best. Give that a little push down. Maybe you can see me a little bit better now. Lately I've been painting all of my human shoes black because they stand out from the grass better than the brown, since I normally do some ground painting of brown. So what I think I've decided to do here with this model, once I finish base coating his pants, is I'm going to pick up this other model that's basically the same, my other test model. I'm going to paint his armor a different color. That way I can compare the two and see which ones I like. Use a little bit of non-watered down paint to hit some of these places that are didn't have any of my base color on there, which, if you remember from an earlier video, I just hit it with shadow gray to make it easier on myself. Kind of covers the primer. Okay. We have a lot of paint left over here, so not to waste it, we're going to continue on my other test one. Double check that there's no other. Oh, this one's closer to the other one. But we're going to go ahead and use this one since I've primered gray on there. I don't know if you can see or not, but I'm not putting the color down as a solid color. I'm putting it down in spots. This will be important later. Clean off this cod piece that I totally just painted. And I did not want to. But like I said, this is just a base coat. Use a little thicker paint over the black areas for coverage and to save us some times. I do have a lot of red teams. Orcs, Chaos. Got 2 turquoise teams. And really the undead's kind of a blue. We're going to think of a secondary color to try out, so temporarily let me put this on hold while I do a little research. Okay, so you may or may not be able to see what I'm seeing. I apologize for that. But I pulled up a few how to, examples. And several that have similar to me, but not quite. So I'm going to continue with the green, I think. Oh. And thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Sorry I missed who it was. I was looking away, but thank you. I appreciate that. Make a comment so I know who you are, and I'll give you a shout out. So I'm tempted to try yellow on these guys. You know, similar to how I was working on this mummy. I'm thinking, you know, maybe. But as the green dries, it's looking pretty solid to me. I know it's really hard to see on the camera, and I apologize for that. But even the green wash over the silver looks pretty sharp. I might just work on this guy for a little bit with the green, because I know blue looks really good, but I have so many blue guys. Let's put another coat of green on here just to see how it looks. A little bit of water. I mean, I don't want them to look too Christmassy, but maybe some red on, you know, a red stripe, a blue stripe. Because my paint is so thinned down, it might take 4 or 5 coats. But with the silver underneath, it's going to, anything that's not covered, is going to look like a chip. And I can go back and I can make it look a little better. Or a little more like a real chip. And the good thing about this is if I miss an area that I've already painted the silver, I'm not too worried about it at all. What do you think, blue or green? Or red or green as a stripe? Even yellow might look good. Okay, so by no means am I an expert on football. So I had to do a little little bit of research, and I should have known this, but the Packers are green and yellow. So let's try green and yellow and see how that turns out. Now I know that yellow is going to look horrid without an undercoat. So I'm going to start with an undercoat of my favorite skeleton bone. It's kind of got a yellow tint anyway, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Tiny bit of water to water it down. While I'm here, and I'm not painting these as the Packers, it's just that the green and yellow color scheme is already for Packers, so we shall see. Seems like I base coat a lot with skeletal bone. I've just always felt like the coverage on it is pretty good. Still not sure what I'm going to do with his jersey yet. I'm definitely going to do something with his helmet. The reason why I use the dry brush as a painting, it just has stiffer bristles, and I'm sure there's something else out there I could use in lieu of, but I've just always used these. I feel like it gives me more control. Okay. Basically what I'm thinking is I need to use up my paint. Even if I decide not to go green, I'll still use a base coat on some of these places. Okay, used up all my paint I have over here, and it's so dry in this room, plus I'm putting on such a thin coat that you'll see that it's almost all dry already. So what we're going to do is take our demonic yellow, give it a shake. I'd rather have golden yellow, but I don't have it with this set. And I'm going to apologize right now because as soon as I put this on here, the camera probably won't catch it as I see it. A little bit of water. And because I don't want someone just to look at them and go, oh, those are Packers, I'm going to attempt not to copy their uniforms. I have been known to copy uniforms before too. This paint is a little bit thick and it's going to show my brush lines. So I want to get back in there as quick as I can before it dries and smooth out those brush lines. Which one side of his helmet I did okay on, the other side I just did not. It's very globby. I may have to let that dry for a minute. But while that's drying, let's get my angel green out, which if they were any more obvious, they could have just called it dark angel green, because what besides dark angels wear green? Sometimes you'll see me hit the model with a non-thin down paint, then I'll dip my brush and come back, and the reason for that is I've seen something that I want to cover, usually some undercoating that I just don't like how it looks. So here's a good example. I hit it, and I'm just barely going to touch the water, and then I'm going to kind of spread it out from there. And really, I don't need to be real careful around these spikes. I could come back and fix them. Trying to get rid of a lot of the metallic shine through. I don't mind seeing some of the metallic, I just don't want it to shine through where it's supposed to be painted. Oh, I'm not a big fan of the helmet. Suggestions, anybody? Okay, well, I'm going to think about this one, let him dry all the way, then come back. I'm thinking maybe here painting a green square on each side so it looks like a yellow stripe. Maybe the same thing here, paint green here and here, leaving a yellow stripe in the middle. So I'm not a fan of that yellow on his helmet. And it may be because I haven't done any highlighting or anything. You got to remember, we're only working on base colors right now. Get your team to base color and then work from there. Okay, I think that's where we're going to stop for now. And then I will come back in a couple hours and do some more. Thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you later.